Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to show you something very simple. I am essentially going to try, probably very badly, take you through the game as a beginner. I am starting a new build. I'm going to try Mathel's Self-Cast Arc Assassin because it looks very cool. But build is not what I'm going to be going into. I'm essentially going to give you a quick rundown on how to get through the campaign in order to get to mapping as safely, quickly, and as easily as possible. I'll try and take you through passives you should be getting, what quests you can skip, yada yada yada, so that you can get to mapping as fast as possible. So without further ado, let's begin. Where is my mouse? Great start. So as first things first, what you want to do, kill Helic, kind around him, he's pretty easy. He goes into phase 2, pulls out a sword from his chest. Just kill this bad boy, and you're off to your first town. Once you get into town, you'll get a bunch of quests, and this is where your journey begins. So if you want to get through this place fast, literally just run through the mobs. You don't have to kill anything unless obviously you want to catch up. But what you're looking for is two things. You're looking obviously for the first exit, which is close to the second exit of the title coast for your quest, and the waypoint, which also happens to be in the same exact place. You can kill the first boss here, Fire Fury. I don't recommend it because you fucking die. I don't recommend killing her, as I said, because it's a huge waste of time. Kill her if you've never killed her before, or strictly if you want to. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to shove my fist in the screen and hit you, but if you're wanting speed, don't kill her. Just try and rush to the end of the map. Same with the League mechanic. Only do the League mechanic if you're wanting levels, or you desperately need levels. So after that, once you get the waypoint, go into Tidal Coast and you do your first quest, which is running all the way around to find Mr. Iceman. Mr. Hailrake is here. You essentially kill him, and you kill this guy because his quest gives you skill points. And I'll link a list, and I'll probably put an image on the screen to show you all the quests that gives you passive skill points as reward. I recommend doing those because essentially you'll be short from skill points if you don't do them. So yeah, make sure you always do all your quests that require or that give you skill points as reward. So now we go back. I have a mouse button bound to my portal scroll, so I can easily just click it rather than going in my inventory. You can change that through the setting. Get the Quicksilver, always. Get whatever reward you want from this based on whatever your build asks of you. Actually, yeah, you don't kill him for a skill point. You kill him for the first Quicksilver flask, which speeds up your mapping by quite a bit, because essentially you just drink this thing and you just zoom, and it's very helpful in the beginning when you have no movement speed. That was my bad. So once you do that, just run through this area. There's an area here called the Fetid Pool. You don't have to do that. Unless there's like a challenge stating it, or I think there may be a Steam achievement tied to it. You don't need to do it. All you have to do now is go around, search for 3 of these Roa nests, get the glyphs, and basically get bullied. Once you get those glyphs, you'll find this wall here. You'll click on it and straight into the next area. Now, when you're in this area, you want to get the waypoint. You want to go back to town if you want to buy anything, but at this point, we're just wanting speed, so I'm just going to run and find Flooded Depths, which has our first boss that actually gives us skill points, which is a little lobster man that is now encased in essence, and it introduces one of the first League mechanics, which are essences that can essentially upgrade your gear or change your gear. I usually just follow the left side here. The layout can change, but it's pretty consistent where it's usually always on the bottom left side of the map. At least that's where I usually find it anyway whenever I do my playthroughs. Once you find the Flooded Depths, come here and you try and look for the boss. And then, and of course, as a very good guide maker, you die. That's why once you find this crystallized son of a bitch, you just break him out and butter poach him to death. He's a bit annoying depending on what he has. He usually has the corrupted blood one or the ice one, as you can see here. If he gets the fire one, it's not too bad, but old one is a bit butt cheeks. It's even worse when it's corrupted blood one. But essentially, you kite him around, kill him. Once you kill him, take the Whispering Essence of Hatred, because that's probably what you'll feel after spending 2 minutes finding him on your shitty-ass build, because you're a new player and you're hard-headed and you're saying that you'll figure it out by yourself without looking up a guide and then regret it later and probably never play it again until... Get the Book of Skill, and then we move on. You teleport back with the waypoint, and you're back here. And if you've been fast enough, the map doesn't reset. So you do the instance and find the exit to the next area. If you're a new person, there are side areas in this game that don't lead to anywhere. as in they do not connect to a map further than them. Flooded Depths is one of them. And the way you can tell is when you open the map, you'll see that they have a connected path. So that's Flooded Depths. It connects back to the submerged passage, which is where we got back from. So that one leads to nowhere except from back to the map that it was connected originally to. Same can be said to waypoints. Not every map contains waypoints, so don't go around looking for waypoints. If the circle here is hollow, it means there is no waypoint to be found in that map. If there is a waypoint in a map and you missed it, there'll be like a smaller circle within the hollowed circle, which means that there is a waypoint here, but you failed to find and activate it. Same with the Brood Princess. You don't really have to kill her. You can just skip her and just move to the next area. I do it because I have a crippling addiction to clear everything in the map. But if you want to hurry up, just move on. So now we're on the ledge. If you find yourself at the point that you're not enjoying the game, now is the time to essentially, and only opportunity, you have to jump off. And once you're on the ledge, you're literally just going to move alongside this. It's a very linear map, and you're just going to find the exit, and that's pretty much it. There is a boss here that you kill, but really it's nothing important. Make sure you get the waypoint just in case you need to return, or you log off or you have to leave, so you can easily return at a waypoint whenever you back into the game. At this point as well, make sure you've went to town at least once after you've completed those quests, because one of them gives you a mobility skill. It's either going to be Dash or Frostblink, or depending on what your class is. I got Frostblink, and yeah, basically got Frostblink because it allows you to skip through terrain, or at least certain types of terrain, and it increases the speed at which you can travel across the world of Rayclast. There's a boss there, as you can see, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip him. I don't really care. In terms of gear rarity, there's 3 colors at the beginning. There's white, which is basic items with no rolls. Magic, which are obviously blue with about 2 to 3 rolls. And then there's rares, which are 4 rolls plus, and that's what you typically want to look for. You have uniques, but those are very, the community would probably agree, useless for the most part, unless you're running a very specific type of build that requires certain niche uniques. Obviously, there are chase uniques, but the chances of you finding one in the campaign are very, very slim. And those are called tier 0 uniques, I believe. Next up is the climb. Make sure you get the waypoint here as well. Again, there's another boss here, Iron Point the Forsaken. You don't really have to fight this guy either. You can just skip him. All it does is add time to your campaign. So, literally, that's it. If you're trying to get as fast as time as possible, as I said before, just skip them. Now, there are, as you can see, now we have the Lord's Labyrinth that has opened up. I am going to do this first one, and then I'm gonna skip the rest because I've completed all of them already on my other character, which means I don't have to repeat them, and quite frankly, I fucking hate doing them. I'm gonna show you the first one, and then I'll let you guys explore these ones by yourself, because I fucking hate them. But yeah, essentially, you go inside this labyrinth, you go around, you click the lever, you go all the way back, basically reverse pathing where you came from. Make sure you don't get hit by the spikes. They check, unless you're like ignoring your skill, like your skill tree and your gear, you shouldn't be dying to those this early on. They will become dangerous later on when you're later in the game because they'll do a lot more damage and bleed. But essentially, yeah, you go through these trials. Once you make it to the end, you click this thing and a portal opens up like so. You click on it and it takes you to the entrance. And basically you do that for all of them. Obviously they have different themes. Some are spikes. Some you have like flying blades that try to kill you. Some shoot spikes and slow you down. Some has like flames. But yeah, they're relatively simple to do. I just hate doing them. This map, we just found the door here, and it will take us to the upper prison. Once you're at the upper prison, you essentially want to go fight the first big boss in the campaign, whose name is General Brutus, or Brutus the Warden, not General Brutus. Obviously in these maps, you sort of have to clear mobs because they will straight up just block your path. You will die because you will get swarmed. Once you get to the Warden's quarters right up here, just move along, shit-talking from this piety. This is the part where you probably want to have a better damage source than what I currently have, because this is pretty dog shit. I am running Ethereal Knives, and I have Elemental Damage proc, which means I'm getting no value out of it. But we could probably get away with this. No. And you died because Brutus has brutalized my butt cheeks. On your first playthrough, you'll probably run into this thaumatic seal, and piety will block off your path, but don't worry, that was never the path you were intended to take anyway. We will come back to that later, because we'll unblock it for the other people as a quest, but essentially you look for the alternative path, which is usually somewhere on the side of the map. Usually when the Burning Menace is close, so this piece of shit here, that means you're going on the right path. So, and here it is, just to the right path that will take you basically next map. Now at this point of the game, I want you to have two things going for you. A guide. Please, if you're a new player, follow a build guide. The amount of information you need to take in as a new player in this game is nothing to sneeze at. I have so many friends that have played this game thinking they can just make their own build and take it all the way to endgame. Has been so many, and they all get burnt out before they even get to mapping because they have no fucking clue what they're doing. They get stuck in a boss, which, you know, as an experienced player, you can easily get through the entire campaign within like 8-9 hours if you take it chill. But yeah, please, if you're a new player, just go type League Starter on YouTube or Google, find a build that you think looks cool, and follow it, because Jesus Christ, you're gonna blow your brain out. The other thing is have at least a piece of gear in each and every single piece of, or every single slot that you have. Whether it doesn't matter what it is initially, it's not as important in the first 1 or 2 acts. Just make sure you have something that gives you anything. So if it's like, if you have a melee build, you want a decent melee weapon, or maybe 2 if you're dual wielding, depending on your build. You want to have rings. Obviously, if you have stuff with like life on it, it's better, but just like make sure you have something that gives you a stat up. Obviously, if you have a physical skill, you're not going to run a wand, right? So just make sure, like, use your... At the end of the day, there is some common sense that needs to go into it, despite how difficult and horrible the game is at explaining things to you. But if you've ever played games in your life, you should have a modicum of what you're looking for. But with that said, that is also why you need to follow a guide in this game, because there are very things that are very specifically worded, and if you do not know how this game works, you'll think something does something, and it does something else, or it doesn't work the way you think it does. And next thing you know, you find yourself at a roadblock doing no damage and getting absolutely destroyed by anything that walks by you. So once you get into the ship graveyard, you want to look for a little cave in between a shipwreck, which is called the ship graveyard cave. The reason you want to go here is because you want to kill pirate captain that I'll show you. So once you get to the ship graveyard, after the prisoner's gate, find a ship graveyard cave, go down here. And essentially what you want to do down here is you want to find a corpse that has a quest item that you will then give a certain pirate captain back in the ship graveyard where you just were. So just follow alongside the cave until you find this thing right here. Again, you don't have to kill the boss. You can just take the thing and leave. I have a very easy time killing her with this current setup, so I just kill her and leave. The ship graveyard now immediately takes you to Fairgraves when you kill him. It wasn't like this before, but they've changed it, which I'm very glad. Kill him and all the minions he spawns. Now, you can teleport back, talk to Bestel, and he'll give you another passive skill point just like that. Once you do that, just carry on, kill everything that you want if you want, or just keep walking on until you find the next exit. And there you go, the Cavern of Wrath. We go here, and we are getting close to finishing Act 1. So on this map, literally just beeline it to the boss. There are mini bosses that spawn, the Daughters of Merveille. You can kill them if you want to. I usually just kill them if I encounter them by mistake, but usually I just skip them. Because yeah, they're, you know, again, like a lot of mini bosses, they're just a waste of time, and they're not needed for any quests. So the Cavern of Anger, and now we basically just beeline it. Again, there will be bosses here that you can kill, or mini bosses. Just like that, we made it to Merveille's lair. I'm gonna place a portal there just in case. And this is your first act boss. She has 2 phases. She'll reach the end of her first phase, obviously, once you kill her the first time, and she'll transform. She does spawn mobs, which are good because they allow you to replenish potions if you're struggling to like health or mana. Just kill her, she'll enter phase 2, like so. Her minions also change form. She'll start spawning little suicide minions, but be careful of her attacks because she does deal cold damage, which means you will be slowed. And she can freeze you, so just be wary, just sidestep her attacks relatively easily. And there you go, that's the first act all done. And then we just leave. Straight up, just run through this map yet again until we find the entrance to the new town area that we're going to be sitting in for this act. There you go, Forest Encampment, we made it here. and welcome to your new humble abode. You don't need to talk to NPCs to complete and get the quests. If you do their goal without talking to them, you'll still be able to complete it. So if you just want to get into town and just go into the next area immediately, you can do that. You don't need to worry about getting the quest from an NPC or worrying about not being able to complete it because you didn't take it in the first place. Now with this area, this is where things get a bit fucky. So as you can see, forks into 2 areas, but that's not worried because they all converge at the end of the map over here. This is the final place you want to go, but we'll also get to go there beforehand for 2 reasons. One, to get the waypoint, and 2, deal with the bandit. So there's a bandit quest line, should I say, where you have to kill or help certain bandits in order to get an outcome. There's 2 outcomes that usually people go for unless you're running like a very niche idea for a build. It's either helping Galera, which we'll see very soon, or killing all of them, which gets you an extra skill point. And the way you get the passive skill point is you kill all 3 of them. You basically help Aramir, you side with Aramir, the guy in town. Once you kill all of them, you'll get an extra skill point. I believe the reward for helping Alira get elemental resistances. I think it's like 15% to all of them, which can be a good way of like sparing yourself and investing in elemental or having a piece of gear that can just not put elemental res on. Make sure you get the waypoint. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the Western Forest to deal with Alira. You may get an Einhar encounter in that previous map we just did. I usually just skip him because it takes way too long. His mobs are usually very tanky, and you don't really get anything aside from drops from him. It's basically an introduction to the Bestiary League, which, again, unless you're running to make currency or you're running for crafts, you can easily just ignore it or worry about it once you get into mapping. Basically get suicide bombed and fucking die. So you kill Captain Arteri, get the Thaumatic Emblem, and now you can go back to Act 1 to complete their quest as well, which gives you another passive skill, like so. If you also talk to Nessa, she'll give you some gems for killing Merve. Go back to the Western Forest, and now once you go back to Western Forest, depending on what your build tells you, your build guide tells you, either help or kill her. I'm going to be killing all of my bandits because I want the passive. So once you kill her, she drops her amulet piece, and now you need 2 more of these. Don't leave the area just yet because there's one more area that's hiding here that we need to get to, which is the Weaver's Nest. Once you find the Weaver's Chambers, just go in, and what you're looking for now is the boss arena, which is where you'll kill a giant spider. Once you kill this giant spider, it'll drop another quest item that you'll need later on for the campaign. Once you make it to the Weaver, just kill her ass. Literally, that's it. Easy peasy, right? Easiest boss fight of my life, honestly. Just beat her ass. She will occasionally go up once you reach a certain HP threshold. I believe it's halfway. Yep. She'll spawn stuff, kill stuff until she comes back down, essentially. These things do hurt because some of them use Flicker Strike, which is basically a guaranteed hit on top of you if you don't move. Sometimes even if you do move, they'll still fucking hit you. Some of them use Viper Strike as well, which is very fun. Once the boss comes back down, just finish it off like so. I'll drop Maligara's Spike, which again, you'll need for later. Once you've done with this, you realize that you're out of portal scrolls and you fucking hate yourself. Once you're done with this, go back to the forest encampment. There's multiple things you can do here. What I would recommend doing, just the way I do it at least, is go back to the riverways and you're going to look for the other map. 2 reasons. 1, it's so you can kill Oak and get him out of the way, and 2, you can find the waypoint that you'll need to essentially get into the final act of this act. So the wetlands, go inside. I run all the way. Once you get to Oak, get to him. Tells you what he gives you, 40 max life, not really worth it. So I'll kill him because that's what I need to do. Because again, I want the +1 passive. You want to blow the absolute bonkers out of him. He does have a shout that basically allows him to restore HP. Not a problem because he'll die anyway. After you kill Oak, find the waypoint, and this is where you'll end up coming before you finish the act. So once you find the waypoint, feel free to go back to the forest encampment and continue the rest of the act. And now you can go on the right side to basically get the rest of it done. Now, there is an area here. As you can see, there's this area called the Den. You fight basically a boss in here in the old fields. You can just skip that area, honestly. I've never done it. I haven't done it for leagues now. Now, go into the crossroads, and there's 3 areas here that you'll basically have to go to. You have to go to one to kill a bandit, the other to get a specific item for the quest, and the other to get a trial step. If you notice some things that in your playthrough that I don't bring up, it's strictly because they're not important to me, or they're not important for the campaign. So now, once you make it to the Broken Bridge, which is the first area, one of the first areas in the crossroads, come to the bridge, which is basically at the end of the road that you come across. Do what you need to with this guy. I'm obviously gonna kill him, so you can get his amulet and continue on with your life. Just like that, he's dead, and now we go back. I'm just gonna teleport out of here and take the waypoint back to the crossroads. Now, take this path, go into the Fell Shrine Ruins. I'm essentially going to beeline it. I'm going to ignore every area except the crypt. And you'll notice what the crypt is, because it'll be in like a little coliseum you go down in. You'll notice some doors or some entrances on this map like that. They're not important, they're just side areas that quite frankly lead to nowhere. I'm not sure if it's still the same, but they used to introduce you to the Sanctum mechanic. You can easily just do that again at the end of the game. I personally don't worry about like side mechanics until at the very end of mapping. So, the crypt, level 1, and go down. There is anytime this text shows up on your quest bar, it means that there is a trial to be done here. So make sure you look out for it and you do that before you leave the map, if you haven't done so on another character, but the beginner guide still. So make sure when that text is there, you do the Trial of Ascendancy in the area. Once you get the Trial of Ascendancy, feel free to skip that entire area because you get a golden hand, which literally is just nothing important for the quests. So yeah, just go back to the crossroads, and now you're going to go to the Chamber of Sins, which are located just to the left of the map, like so. So once you get to the Chamber of Sins, make sure you get the waypoint, and then look for the floor down. Chamber of Sins level 2, bingo bango bongo, and there you go. Just keep going to the end of this map. There is another Trial of Ascendancy here that you must not miss as well, so make sure you get that while you're down here. You meet Piety here again, and basically you go and kill Fidelitas, which will drop you the Baleful Gem. Quickly dispatch this guy and interact with this, and you'll get the Baleful Gem. Make sure you go back and talk to Helena, although I'm pretty sure you'll be fine if you don't. Once you kill all 3 bandits, by the way, make sure that you get the Apex from Aramir, simply by talking to him. And then, once you have the Apex and the Baleful Gem, literally just go back to the wetlands, where we once were, where we got that waypoint before, and boom! Val Ruins, you have the Apex. We're gonna go in, click the Ancient Seal, go through the Northern Forest, get the waypoint. Ignore literally everything in this map, because I personally hate the map layout. There's literally nothing here aside from the way the game teaches you ritual, which I don't care enough about this early on. Go into the caverns, fucking die, get to the boss, click the Dark Altar, kill the boss, and on to Act 3. And boom, just like that, you're in Act 3. And now, move in to the next area. Get to Clarissa, save Clarissa, even though she saves herself. Get to Sarn. Now, at this stage of the game, make sure you have a decent enough weapon, some golds, and just things that allow you to survive. Make sure that you're keeping your potions up to date, so that they keep up with your ever-increasing life and mana pools. But other than that, we continue onwards. Go to the slums, find the sewer grating, come back to that later, find the crematorium, go inside. Make sure you do the Ascendancy inside here as well. Fight Piety, interact with Tollman and take the Tollman's bracelet. Feel free to leave. Talk to Clarissa so she'll give you the sewer grate keys. Run back to the sewer grate you found earlier and go down. Go up, go around the sewers and look for these busts because you'll need these for quests that will give you extra skill points. Don't worry about the Undying blockage. Just make sure you keep a mental note of where it is. We'll come back to it later. And also make sure you get the waypoint while you're here. Get bust number 2. And the 3rd bust is obtained as well. And finally, find your exit out into the marketplace. Now, for the catacombs, I won't exactly show you this map, because this map, the only reason you need to go in here is for the Trial of Ascendancy, which obviously I've already done. So go in there, do the Trial of Ascendancy, and get the fuck out. Once you're done with the catacombs, find the nearest exit to the battlefront, and move on to the next area. While in the battlefront, you're looking for 3 things. You're looking for the Blackguard chest with the ribbon spool. You'll need this further down. Second, the docks, which we will go into. And while inside the docks, you want to look for the thaumatic sulfide, which is found in this container here. When you find this, just teleport back and go back to the battlefront. You do find Fairgraves again there if you want to do his quest. I never find it worth it because I believe he just gives you some jewelry. And at this point in stage, I'm not that fussed about jewelry or starved for any form of accessory. So I'll leave that up to your discretion. And thirdly, you want to find the Solaris Temple, which now allows us to enter into sort of like a final phase, or close to the final phase of Act 3. Get to Solaris Temple Level 2. Once you make it to the end of Solaris Temple Level 2, you'll find Diala. And because you have found ingredients beforehand, so the Thaumatic Sulfite and the Ribbon Spool, once you talk to her, you can easily pick one of these, whichever it is, doesn't matter. You'll get the Infernal Talk. Now, ignore the Eternal Laboratory, that does nothing. It used to be where you did mapping, I'm pretty sure. Teleport back, talk to Hargan to give him the busts, unless you did it before. You get a book that gives you 2 respec and 1 passive point, and feel free to use it the way you want. And now you can basically go back to the sewers. Remember when I told you to keep in mind where you had seen the Sundying blockage? Use that Infernal Talk, and now you're headed on your way to the Ebony Barracks, like so. Once you're here, find and kill General Gravicius. Just like that. Make your way up to the Lunaris Temple, and we're basically going to run it down until we get to the end of Lunaris Temple Level 2, just like Solaris Temple. Once you get to the end of the Lunaris Temple 2, you'll get into the arena, where you finally face off against Piety. There you go. Once she's dead, make sure that you take the crafting recipe that is in this arena. I can't see it, obviously, because I've taken it, but once you've done that, go back to the Sarn encampment, talk to the NPCs to get any rewards they may give you, and head off back to the Ebony Barracks, and we're now going to be looking for the last piece of the map that will lead us towards the end of the act. Once you find the Imperial Gardens, go in. Once again, there is a labyrinth in here that you can do. Another thing that you can do here is a side piece of content if you want access to all the early game gems, is you go to a side place in this pretty sure it's called the library. You can go there, you find a ghost, and he gives you access once you collect all his pages to all the gems from Act 1 to 3. I don't need it, obviously, because I've completed campaign once already, so I have access to Lily Roth, which grants you access to pretty much every single gem that you can obtain through the campaign. But if you want to do that and you want to get access to some gems from Act 1 and 2 and 3 that you don't have yet, you can feel free to go do that quest. It's not really part of the main campaign, so I'm not going to bother it. Same with the Chithis Plum that you may find in this map. You can give that to Fairgraves, and as I said, he'll give you a piece of jewelry that I don't need.
And you die because you listen to me, you die.
Once you get to this giant locked door, use the tower key you get to Piety to enter the Scepter of God. Once you make it a Scepter of God, you have a boss fight, essentially. Just kill everything.
And you die because your build sucks balls.
Kill Dominus very easily. And once he's dead, you're now free to go to Act 4. Ignore Lady Diala, I don't give a shit. Hello, Lady Diala. And now, you are in Act 4. Once you get to Highgate, basically, you can just go immediately to the side area down here, Dried Lake, find the boss here and kill him, get Deshred's banner, like so. Take the banner to Deshred's seal and walk into the mines. Once you get to mines level 2, make sure you find Deshred's spirit, find her chained up in a hand, basically. Free her. Once you do, you can go back in town and get another free skill point. So yeah, make sure you do that before you move on further down the mines. She's usually located pretty close to the entrance, in a corner somewhere. Once you make it to the bottom of the mines and into the crystal veins, you fucking die. Once you get here, you'll see Lady Diala with a cannon, and what you have to do now is go in between these two areas, Dereso's Realm and Calm's Dream. Essentially get their little gemstones that you use to power up the cannon in order to enter the belly of the beast. Fight your way through the pit map. That's basically what this map set is called. And once you kill the boss here, you'll get access to the Grand Arena. Repeat the same steps. This layout is a bit fucky because essentially a lot of the areas lead to a bunch of areas you that literally don't lead to the boss. So just keep looking until you eventually find the area. It shouldn't take too long if you're just clearing or just straight up looking for it. But yeah, you will have to clear some of these areas in order to go on. And if you've rushed through the campaign so far, a little bit of extra XP doesn't hurt. And once you make it to the end, you'll face Dareso, King of Swords. You have some invulnerability phases, just chill when he does this, and basically just kill him. Once he's dead, take his eye, and go back to the Crystal Veins, and make your way to Calm's Dream. The whole idea with Calm's area is the same as Dareso's Dream. Basically, just move forwards until you find the boss. The difference is that Calm's Dream is much simpler to navigate through compared to the arena, because it's just essentially one straight path that leads to the boss. You can't really get lost in this place. And once you're at Calm's, again, just fight him to the death and try not to die. Make sure that you're aware of the mechanic of his caldera. Oh, oops. So essentially, you'll spawn minions, and you'll see the, like, meteors coming out of the caldera from the 3 angles, and you fucking die because you don't pay attention, just like I told you to. There you go. Once you kill them, on the first attempt, like I did, go back to the Crystal Veins, pop the bad boys on Lady Diala. She'll shoot and basically kill herself. So now we're in the belly of the beast. We're just gonna run on through. And once you push through the Belly of the Beast levels 1 and 2, you'll make it to Bowels of the Beast. You'll face off against Piety for what feels like the 36th time. Basically, just kill her again, one more time. She'll do this AoE wide laser. If you have any movement skill, unlike me, you fucking die. Basically, just dodge that laser and make sure you can position her properly for the laser, because if she starts doing the laser in the corner, you're pretty much fucked, unless you can, like, blink over it. Once she's dead, she's actually not. Go on to the next level, and this is where you face off Malachi. Kill these 3 bosses. Collect their entrails. And once you're done with that, go to the middle of the map where you'll find Piety. You'll enter the Black Core, and you'll face off against the last boss of Act 4. For this, fight Malachi, bringing down a certain HP. Kill Piety again, because apparently she just can't fucking die, because she's the one that takes away his invulnerability. Essentially, it's a very, like, simple fight. Kill her again. Once you do that, Malachi will shove his giant stick in Piety and move on to the next area. Keep damaging him until he opens one of his hearts, which then you want to destroy because it'll make him invulnerable until it's broken. Dodge his attacks, rinse and repeat until you fucking die. He does that a total of 3 times, so 3 hearts. And once you break them, you can just finish him off. And that is the end of Act 4. Make sure before you leave Act 4, obviously, you talk to all the NPCs for any rewards they may give you. And once you've done that, go past the throne next to Oyun and Diana, and go down to the Ascent to start Act 5. Once you're in the Ascent, go all the way up north in the map until you find the Resonator, click the lever, it opens up a portal like so, go in it, and congratulations, you're now in Act 5. You only have 5 fucking acts left, Jesus Christ. Honestly, if you're still watching at this point, you're the GOAT, genuinely. This has got to be one of the worst guides anyone's ever seen. Once you make it through the slave pens, make your way over to the Overseer's Tower. After you kill Overseer Crow, they will drop you down a ladder, and you're now in your next little base. So now we're gonna go down to the control blocks, and we're essentially looking for the exit and Valenta's Miasmeter. We want Valenta's Miasmeter because it is a quest that gives you a passive skill point. The Miasmeter is always in the same place, meaning behind the shelf down here. You can easily go down to it if you just have a blink skill, or like a blink arrow, blink back over. There you go, you don't have to go all the way around. After you get that, you just move up from that location till you come to this little bit, and you face Justicer Casticus. That one. Kill him. Now you have the Eyes of Zeal, and you move on to the next area, which is just up ahead from that guy. Once you make it to the Chamber of Innocence, you're basically just going around until you make it to his chamber, clearing any mobs in the way, like so. As you can see, I made of sort of like a demented C shape to get here, so it's pretty much the same layout every time. Once you get inside Chamber of Innocence, you will fight High Temple of Arius. This guy has actually 2 phases, believe it or not. The form that he takes isn't actually his true form. Goes into his invincibility state, just take out his ads until he comes out of his little phase. He'll do this multiple times throughout the fight, even in his second phase. Second phase, he summons an elite one, which is a bit tankier and deals more damage, but it's nothing special either. He also summons the statues, when he goes, rise! But I've generally never had these be a threat. And this is Innocence. Also, you just kill him. And you fucking die because he's a god, and you're fighting a god, and you are just puny. So once you successfully kill Innocence, easy peasy, the best NPC shows up. And this is Sin. And this is where Kitava awakens. Once Innocence is slain, everything goes to shit. You go talk to Bannon, and you essentially head back and realize that pretty much everything is on fire. Just make your way back, clear all mobs that you can. Once you get out of the Torch Court into the Ruined Square, you'll see that the map opens up by quite a bit, like so. You have a few ways to go now, and I'm going to take you what to go to step by step. So first area is the Ossuary, because A, you want the waypoint, and B, you want to get the Sign of Purity, which is what you'll need to fight the last boss of this act. Once you've made it to the middle of the Ossuary, you go to the Tomb of First Templar, you get the Sign of Purity, basically get the fuck out of here. Make sure you go back and give Valenta her Miasmeter for an extra passive skill. Now, we want to go to 3 different areas. We want to go to the Reliquary to get Kitava's Torments. You can kill Utula while you're here as well, if you really want to. I usually skip them, but now you're going to the Reliquary. And once you're in here, you're essentially going to the corners and looking for pieces of Kitava. 1, 2, and 3. Once you get these, you can go back to Lonnie, get another skill point and 2 respecs. After we get the Torments and get the skill point, we're gonna want to go back to the Ruined Square, run all the way to the middle of the plaza, and go all the way up top to the Cathedral rooftop. You're going to just hug the left side. Once you made it all the way to the boss fight, the Cathedral Apex, by hugging the left side of the map, go in, click the Cradle of Purity, and you're gonna fight Kitava for the very first time. Just be mindful of his attacks. He's a relatively easy fight. He's very stationary. He just has a lot of AoEs. Go back down a couple times, and he'll come back looking like a starfish. Pop out his heart, just damage that until he takes it back. Make sure you don't die to the AoE, to the mobs that he spawns. Beat the heart to death a couple more times. And on the second blast, when he comes back, you'll see his form is fully revealed. And this is where you basically, quote-unquote, beat, or, well, lose the first time against Kitava. Sin saves the day. Kitava just stares helplessly as he saves you. No! Plot armor. Then you just go here, talk to Lily, and on to Act 6. This is part 2 of the campaign, and you're now in the first act of part 2, which is Act 6. So the first thing I want you to do when you come back to Lion's Watch is go down here and go to the Twilight Strand and kill everything. This is a quest given to you by Lily Roth, and if you want to essentially unlock her ability to sell you gems, kill everything. That's all you need to do. Just clear out the Twilight Strand, and you'll unlock her shop. You'll unlock her shop, which allows you to buy basically every buyable gem in the game. It's very important, especially when you're getting your build going, to have access to as many gems as you can. Obviously, there are some that can only be obtained through drops in Labyrinth. You can't buy those unless you buy them from the market, or you get them by doing the content if you're SSF. But other than that, this is one of the very few side quests that doesn't get you a passive skill point that I recommend doing always. Once you get the map cleared, you'll see a little pop-up that says talk to Lily for your reward. You can teleport back, talk to Lily Roth at her ship. She'll give you 2 respecs, and as you can see, you now have 8 pages worth of skills, which is very, very handy. And you continue on with your day. Now off to the coast. So if you're not well equipped, these guys will start hitting like a truck, because a lot of them do elemental damage from cold to fire. So now we'll just gaze on. So now we'll just glide on through and try to fly through the remaining maps. The campaign does get significantly faster now for 2 reasons. A, presumably your build is much stronger now, if you're following a guide especially. Most guides that you will follow, unless they're from some shitty channel that monetizes their shitty build. If you follow anyone like Ziz, Mathel, you have a pretty good idea of the game. There's other people like Gorathon, Gazi. There's a bunch of creators that are very, very good with builds for this game, so you can never truly be lost with a build guide. And even if you are, there's plenty of discords that, can help you learning the game. Hell, feel free to join my Discord if you have questions that I may or may not be able to answer. But true, we could figure it out if you struggle to find or understand something. Try my best to help people with this game, even though I'm sometimes not the absolute best to ask these questions. That's why we have people like Zizarin and, you know, all the other people that I'm in. You don't have to go to the tidal coast in this one because you don't really get anything from there. You do a Bestel quest and he just gives you, I can't remember if it was respec points or skills or potions. Either way, it's not super important. With the last new league, Aelith now gets introduced in Act 6, and you sort of need to talk to her to get to the next area, so you can burn the breach off. But again, you don't really have to interact with the mechanic up until, you know, you get to maps for breach. Once you're in the mudflat, you're going to look for a specific unique boss that has item that you need to proceed to the next area. There she is. That's the Forgotten Warrior. You need to find the Dishonored Queen. She'll give you the Eye of Conquest that you just saw. Once you get the Eye of Conquest, come over here. You find this door to Calm Stronghold. Use the eye on this door. Proceed to the next area. Now, when you're in the Karui Forest, you're going to fight your first Pantheon boss, Tukohama. So you basically just fight and kill this guy, and you will be introduced to another mechanic that can only really be accomplished or started in campaign. You do continue a part of it in mapping once you get there, but you cannot really start it without having done the campaign part of it. So once you defeat him, Sin comes down, and he's like... Oh god. And once you do that, you unlock the Pantheon. Now the Pantheon captures different souls of different gods, which I'll be showing you as we go on. But essentially these are very, very important for a lot of builds because they allow you to have essentially defenses or ways to survive and mitigate damage that, depending on your build, you will need. Next up, you go up on the ridge after you exit the arena, and you just make your way through this until you find the next exit. Once you make it all the way through the ridge, and basically just beeline it there, you'll make it to Lower Prison. There's nothing important in the ridge, so just literally bulldoze your way through it. There is a labyrinth in here, so make sure you do that before you get out of this area, so you can get to the second Ascendancy. And now we're basically going to scale Chevron's tower, and once we're at the top, we will fight the first major boss of this act. And now, once you made it to the end of the tower and to the prison rooftop, you get to fight Brutus and Chevron, because apparently they're lovers. Chevron will put Brutus on as a coat, and once you beat them, you're free to move to the next area. Now, for the next area in Prisoner's Gate, you're going to want to look for a little nook like this on the map, so that you can find the Valley of the Fire Drinker. You find this guy because, A, he gives you a passive skill point when you kill him, or at least for completing the quest for killing him. And you get his soul, which you need for the Pantheon. You are needing it for your build. And you get fucking hit by a meteor and you die instantly. Or you get mad on. Once you fight the first phase, you go to the Cloven Pass, because he starts bombarding the entire area. You go through this little area here that you can literally just run through. You don't have to fight anything in here. Go to the second phase of the fight. Make sure you dodge all his minions. And once he dies, all his minions die too. Sin comes in, sucks his soul out, and you are free to leave. Afterwards, make it back to Prisoner's Gate and just head down the path that leads to the exit of the area into Western Forest. The Western Forest has nothing important, so the only thing you may want to find is the waypoint, which is usually found alongside the path. After that, you can literally just make it to the end of the map into the next area, continue like so. Now, once you make it to the riverways, you want to go along the path to find the waypoint and head to the left as you're looking for the next side area, which contains Rislatha, which is another soul that you need for the Pantheon. And Rislatha is actually a very commonly used soul for a lot of builds. For this area, if you hug the left side of the map, you'll usually find it pretty quickly, which is the wetlands. So now you go into the wetlands, and again, keep hugging left until you find the boss lair. Once you get to the spawning ground, you find yourself in an area that's filled with green stuff. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is just go here, find the Rislatha's nests that are spawned in these 3 specific spots. So there's one on the right, one in the middle, and one on the left just down from the staircases. And once you break these, boss spawns back on its original platform. So make sure you don't get hit by its AoEs and you'll be fine. Quickly dispatch of Rislatha. There you go. And you can feel free to return. You can get your rewards from the NPCs if you want to get them now, like so. And then go back to the teleport, click Riverways, and continue onwards to the next area. And now to the Southern Forest. Again, this is one of those areas where you can literally just run through and go to the next one because there's no mechanic or boss or reward that you want out of here. You just want to get out of this map as fast as you possibly can so that you can actually get to the good stuff. Just like that, we made it to the waypoint and the Cavern of Anger. Whilst you're here, take the black flag, speed run it to the beacon. Once you make it to the beacon, again, speed run to the end. Once you're at this pyramid area, you want to find these little fuel rods and you want to stay inside their area so you can move them along. Shit will start spawning around them, so just kill things as you go and you don't get overwhelmed like me, like oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. This is a perfect example of make sure you have your gear in check before you continue. I still have Act 1 gloves. I don't know what. Once you get one fuel beacon inside the little slot, calmly make your way to the second one. Just like that, click the ignition switch, click the beacon, and then go all the way down to the ship. Talk to Whalem, sail to the Brine King's beef patty, and make your way to the boss arena. Get to the Brine King's throne, and fight the Brine King. When she brings in the waves here, just make sure you're staying out of the way of the projectiles and the AoE on the ground that she spawns, and just dodge the attacks that the Brine King does. Just like that, the Brine King is dead. Sin takes his soul as well, and then you talk to Whalem, and you get to the next act. Once you're in the next act, feel free to not talk to anybody. You don't really need to, ever. Especially when you've gotten used to the... So what I usually do is I get to the next area, as I've said before, bank whatever I need to make space. Maybe I'll gamble for some items because, you know, I need gear. Now that we're in Act 7, there's a few things that we need to do. Firstly, this map, literally just blast through it because there's nothing important happening here. And now that we're at the crossroads, this is actually the busiest part of this act. So what we need to do is we're going to get the waypoint, like so, and we're going to make our way down to the catacombs or the Fell Shrine ruins to get the map. Once you're in the Fell Shrine ruins, you'll find the crypt. Basically, want to come in here, do the Trial of Ascendancy if you haven't done it yet, and then essentially we're just going to look for the Malagaro's map that we'll need for the next step. Open the sarcophagus, go down the stairs, and once you find the map, feel free to teleport back to the bridge encampment. Click the waypoint and go back to the crossroads. And now we're going to head up to the Chamber of Sins. Once you make it here, get to the map device, talk to Silk, and use the map device that you got from the crypt into the map receptacle, activate, and you go to your first ever map. Once inside the sanctum, go to the right, a bit further down, and then hug the left until you make it to the boss arena. Kill Malagaro and the minions he spawns. And then once you do that, go back to the Chamber of Sins and give the Black Venom to Silk, who will then give you an Obsidian Key, which will then allow you, just outside of the map, to go to the Chamber of Sins level 2. Don't forget to do your Trial of Ascension in this area, and then make your way to the end, to the secret passage, which will take you to the den. Take the waypoint here, and again, make your way to the end of this map. Once you make it out of this map, you'll get to the Ashen Fields. Take the waypoint and just run to the boss arena, which should be at the end of this path right here. There you go, the fortress encampment. You get inside here. You'll basically just kill everything in here until the boss spawns. The boss will spawn here with the same area that the wolf spawned. And there he is, Groost, Lord of the Forest. And there you go. That's the boss defeated. And another soul for Sin. Go to the Northern Forest. There is a little shrine here for a quest that you can ignore, which is for Groost's necklace. It's another side quest that you can safely ignore. However, before we continue on, we want to find the Dread ticket, which is right here. And here, we are tasked with finding a certain amount of fireflies. The reason we need the fireflies is so we can fight. We can get to the area for the last boss of this act. It's better to just get this out of the way so you don't have to backtrack and come back here to get these. So yeah, essentially you just get them before you continue on. Boom, that's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. While you're here, also want to go down to the Den of Despair to fight Grothko, which is another soul that you need, and you also get free skill points for killing this boss. So make sure you get this right before you leave. Like so. Make sure you get the rewards for killing Ralakesh and Grothko. Now we run to the causeway, and you essentially also run to the end of this area. There is an item that you're looking for strictly for extra passive skills, but it's usually located right next to the entrance of the next area. And there you go, that's Kishara's lockbox. Take that and move on to the next area. Now, in the Val Temple, you're not looking to go to the end of the map. You're sort of looking for, quite literally, a temple. You'll notice because the waypoint is right outside it, and it's usually located within the middle. Like so. There you go, there's Yina, and there's the ape waypoint right there. Talk to Yina, you'll give her the Firefox, and she'll go full furry mode, burn alive. She'll open the way for you, and you go to fight the last boss. Basically, you just go around this temple looking for stairs that will lead you down. It may take a hot minute, especially if you're clearing the entire map, because this is like 4 stories down. So yeah, just keep going around until you find stairs, and keep going downstairs until eventually you'll make it to the last floor, and you'll head into the arena. Once you make it down the stairs, you'll get to Arakali's web, and you'll get to fight Arakali herself. And she's just been possessed by a spirit, and it's gonna be fun. In this fight, just make sure you dodge her little lasers, like so. She will then proceed to eat her husband in an act of love, and come back with his head on her head. You basically just rinse and repeat. Dodge the ball mechanic, you'll see it very shortly, or the laser mechanic. She'll start stomping her feet and summon balls around that she'll attract to her. Dodge that so you don't die. Keep an eye on her minions and on the lasers. And the fight itself is pretty simple. And there you go. Arakali is dead, and now you move on to the next act.
You die?
Make sure that you die a lot in this campaign as well, so you can feel like an absolute goddamn monkey. Continue through to the next areas. And congratulations, you have made it to Act 8 safely. Now, obviously, make sure you go back, give the Kishara star to Whalem before you continue on Act 8. That is a free skill point. Now, head into the Toxic Conduits and find your way to Doidri the Hag. So essentially now, we are going to find her and we are going to kill her in order to start completing this act. Once you find Doidri's cesspool, you're gonna go in, you're gonna find her little hatch, go down, turn this valve, and she'll spawn. Beat her ass real quick. The valve mechanic is when this thing starts to overflow, but if you kill her fast enough, you don't need to worry about it. And on to the sewer outlet. Now, as you can see, it forks. It doesn't matter which way you go, because ultimately they'll all converge in one spot. What you basically need to do is you need to pick a direction, go there in order to get to either the Sun Temple or the Lunar Temple. You'll need both in order to progress, because you'll need items from both of them. So essentially, you'll just do a big circle until eventually you end up back to the temple. So first up, the Quay. Now, the thing with the Quay is there's a side quest here that you want to do before you move on, and that is finding the Ankh and trying to save or revive Tolman for Clarissa. So you basically just find the area for the Ankh. You'll see an exclamation mark on the mini-map. Take the Ankh of Eternity, and then we'll go and find the side area for the side quest, which is located in the Quay as well. Here it is, the resurrection site. Talk to Clarissa. She'll try to revive him. Jesus is like,
No, I mean to Satan.
so start summoning zombies, just kill everything. Kill Tolman, and that's it. You've completed the quest. Talk to Clarissa. She'll be back in town with your reward, but we're gonna continue onwards for now. On to the next area, which is the Grain Gate. So in this area, just make sure you find these guys over here, the Gemling Legionnaires. So once you kill them, you can go back for a quest reward in town from Maramoa. And after you kill them, you can just continue to the next area. Make your way to the Imperial Fields. Just hug the left side and completely skip through this map, because there's literally nothing of importance. The Imperial Fields. Just make your way to the exit and don't worry about missing anything of value, because there's literally nothing. And there you go, you have now made it to the Solaris Temple level 1. So for this temple, we're going to make it to the bottom, kill the Solar Orb Guardian, or Sun Orb Guardian, and then leave and go get the Lunar Orb, or Moon Orb. Make it to level 2. And once you make it into the arena, just kill the boss here called Dawn, or die, you know, you die, you can die. And once you kill him, the Sun Orb drops. Feel free to leave. Get your rewards from Maramoa and Hargan. Now teleport back to Solaris Temple level 1, but this time we are going to look for the alternate path that leads us to the next area, which is the Harbor Bridge. The exit to the Harbor Bridge from the Solaris Temple is usually close to the waypoint, opposite the direction of where you find the stairs to Solaris Temple level 2. So just go from the waypoint and go in the opposite direction of where you found stairs. Usually it's literally just like to the left or to the right, depending on what your map layout is like. Once you make it to the Solaris Concourse, all we have to do now is find the harbor bridge. You can just run through this area because, again, there's nothing important here. Again, the exit to the harbor bridge is usually pretty close to the waypoint for this. So once you find the waypoint, it's usually just a bit further down. There you go, onto the harbor bridge. Now, once you get here, you're gonna do two things. One is realize that for some fucking reason, there isn't a waypoint here. And two, you're going to run to the opposite side of this map so you can go to the Lunaris Temple to get the other orb. We will go a bit further once we get the Lunaris orb because there is a couple things that you want to get, like the Soul of Yugol, because those will be important for extra skill points, and the Pantheon.
And then you die, and you have to go back and over and over.
Oh my fucking god. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. In case you're wondering why I die so much, I've been running a tabula rasa for the entire campaign, which is basically this chestplate here that's 6-socketed that offers quite literally 0 defenses. I'm wearing a paper shirt. I am too lazy to change it, and yeah, I'll change it once I get to level 68, because that's when I get my 6-socket Impulsa for my arc switch. Now, when you get here, when you get to the Lunaris Concourse, you're gonna find the waypoint, and then you're just gonna beeline it to the Lunaris Temple. There is a mini-boss here that you can kill if you want to. I typically don't bother, but it took like 4 mines to kill him, so not particularly fussed. And now that we made it to the Lunaris Temple, we're going to repeat the same exact thing we did with the Solar Temple. Boom, we get to the waypoint. We get to Lunaris Temple level 2. Once you get to the boss arena, enter the portal. Same thing as the sun guy. Just kill him without dying. Kill him on the first time, just like you witnessed me doing. Go back to Sarn Encampment. Now, unlike the Solar Temple, you're not going back to the Lunaris Temple. You're going back to the Lunaris Concourse. Order, go back to the next area, which is the Bathhouse, in order to complete the last area on this quest. From memory, this place is always on the left, I'm pretty sure. Yep, so the bathhouse is in between the waypoint and the harbor bridge exit. So just go into the bathhouse. Make sure that you do your ascendancy here. And now, the last thing you want to do before you kill the last boss is you want to find, I believe it's called the High Gardens. There is another side quest here you can do, which is Wings of Vastiri. Collect them, you give them to Hargan, and he gives you a reward. It's not really important. Once you find the High Gardens, you go in, you get all the way to the end of this place, because that's the only important place in here, in order to face Yugol, which is another Pantheon boss that you may need for your build. Also gives you a skill point, so it's always good to kill him. Be careful of these porcupines, because if you have low armor or physical damage reduction, you will just explode. There you go, that's the Pools of Terror, which is where you'll find Yugol. Kill this boss real quick. He'll summon mirages on himself, which you just need to eliminate once he's dead. And Sin does his thing. Yugol! That's another soul captured. Teleport away back to Sarn Encampment. Teleport back to the Lunaris Concourse, because that's the last area that one of the last areas that we went into. So the map would not have reset, and we can just run back here, exactly where the exit is. Harbor Bridge has unfortunately reset. Once you're back in the Harbor Bridge, make your way to the middle of the map where the Sky Bridge is to face against Solaris and Lunaris. Once you make it to the middle of the map, enter the Sky Shrine, interact with the Statue of the Sisters, and fight Solaris and Lunaris to finish this act. That's one down. Once you've killed both, Sin will come and claim their souls, and you can leave to the Blood Aqueduct, which will now signify the start of Act 9. You're almost there. You've almost made it. Once you've made it through the Blood Aqueduct, which is basically just running a straight line through this map, you've now entered Highgate, which is the Act 9 safe haven. As soon as you get into Highgate, walk forwards, past the throne, and into the descent. And we are now going to try and splee blitz through these last 2 acts. Rush through the descent, because there's literally nothing here. Down the supply hoist. Get fucking die. Go down the next supply hoist. And then you go down into the Vastiri Desert, because that makes absolute sense. You go from absolute cold mountain, pure desert, but maybe I'm wrong. What do I know about deserts? Now, while you're here, you want to quickly find the waypoint. And once you find the waypoint, you want to find this little shrine here with the Storm Wither chest. You click on it. So you clicked on it, waves of mobs will start spawning. Just kill them till eventually the chest opens and you drop the Storm Blade. Now what you do from here, ideally, is you find the exit to the next map, which is the foothills. You find the waypoint over here, which is right here. And then once you do that, you teleport back to Highgate, give the sword or the Stormblade to Patronus and Vanya. You talk to Sin, or whoever really, and they'll give you a bottled storm from the Stormblade. Teleport back to the Vestiri Desert, and you find the Sandstorm, which you will then clear with the bottled storm you just got. The reason we did it in that order is that so when we're done with this area, we can just straight up teleport to the foothills and continue our journey from there rather than having to reload the map, look for the new area, yada yada yada. Now what we're looking for here, there's two areas in the Oasis. There's the Forbidden Vault, and then there's this area, the Sand Pit. Ignore the Forbidden Vault. You literally get nothing out of it except an introduction to the Betrayal mechanic. But you want to come to the Sand Pits to find Shakari, who is the daughter of Sin, and you'll do her for the skill point and the soul for the Pantheon. Once you beat her initial phase, she'll move on slightly forward in the map, as you can see, and she'll start going down this corridor. Just follow her through until she makes it to her second arena. Once you make it to the end, she'll go into the Swallowing Sands. She'll spawn right here. Basically, you just fight her until she dies. Once she dies, Sin takes his daughter's soul. We can freely just teleport back, go back to the waypoint, and continue from the foothills. Now, from the foothills, because you got the waypoint, you get instant access to the Boiling Lake, which you will go here to kill the Basilisk in order to get the Basilisk Powder, Basilisk Flask, whatever it is, Basilisk Acid. So you'll rush somewhere to the right, because that's where the boss is. Which went right, we hugged the right wall, and then we went to the left, to the north slightly. You find more than likely, wee! Once you kill this lord before Highgate. There is a boss here called Boulderbag that drops the Calendar of Fortune. You don't really need it for anything. I think it was respec points that you get from it, which later in the game you won't really have an issue to get. And now you can respec with gold as well, so it's even easier to respec. But if you want to kill him for the respec points, feel free to do it. I particularly don't need it. Now we're in the tunnel, and we are just going to, again, bomb rush this area because there's nothing of importance to us in here. If you want to take your time, get some XP, feel free to kill everything. Just trying to get this build into endgame or into mapping as fast as possible, or if you just want to get to mapping to experience it without getting stuck in campaign. Just make sure you do the Ascendancy in this area, because there is an Ascendancy, and obviously you'll need that for your Ascendancy later. Obviously, if you ever miss any of them, you can come back and do them later. It's just a pain in the ass to have to come back here and go through the maps when you want to, get into the endgame, but, always an option. Once you get to the quarry, you have two things you have to do before you can get into the belly of the beast yet again. Firstly, get the waypoint, and then you have to go to two side areas. One of them is where you'll fight the God of the Skies, who is Sin's wife. And the other one is where you'll need the Trothan powder in order to actually enter the belly of the beast. So first one, Shrine of the Winds. This is where you'll find Kira and Garukan, Queen of the Winds. Be careful, because she does hit like a truck. She goes invisible, and she has this attack where she does that, and that can one-shot you if you're not well defended against it. I believe it's physical damage. It's either physical damage or spell. Hit Kira when she comes out of the shadows, and then she'll switch again with Garukan. Garukan goes invisible, does a little attack, and there you go. You get the Sekima Feather, you get the soul, you go back, and now you find the other area to get the Throtum Powder. Now, once you're in the refinery, which is the other area in the quarry, you want to find the boss here, who is guarding the Throtum Powder. He's usually in the top left or bottom left room of the map, so we're just looking for that. There you go, here he is. General Addis. Just fight this guy, stay clear of his AoEs on his explosion, which he'll do shortly probably. Yep, there it is. Stay away from that. That's a slam. And you die. Once he dies, get the Throtum Powder, teleport back out, back to the quarry, and just talk to Sin, and he'll open it up for you. Once you're inside the belly of the beast, just run all the way down until you make it to the core. Be wary that in the belly of the beast, there are a few dead ends. So yeah, just keep looking until you find the next floor, and die. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Once you get to the rotting core, make your way to the black core, and this is where you'll meet Sin. He'll open 3 portals for you, and you'll need to clear all 3 of these in order to fight the last boss. Kill Doidri, Chevron, and Maligaro. Whichever order you do it in, doesn't matter. I usually just do it in order of most to least annoying. And after you do, you're now ready for the last boss of Act 9. So this boss has the mechanics of all 3 bosses you just fought, and he does do quite a bit of damage in Chaos/Fizz, so just be careful. He does a little orb mechanic that he may or may not do depending on how much we DPS him. But yeah, these minions, he hit like a truck if you're not Fizz resistant or chaos. I can't remember which one of the two it was. I think it was chaos for them. But yeah, be careful of that orb because that will melt you if you stay inside it for too long. Let him do his phases, kill his minions before they kill you, get out of the orb, and there you go. That's Act 9 over. Talk to Lily and she'll take you to Act 10. You're in the final stretch. Now, what you can do obviously is you go back to Act 9 and you talk to the NPCs to get your rewards. I usually choose the closest to not deal with it. 2 there. Basically, that's it. Boom. 2 skill points right there. Once you get to Act 10, immediately go to the Cathedral rooftop and go to the first area that you see right here, the Cathedral Apex, where we'll save Bannon. Once you save him, you don't really have to go back and meet him at the docks. Just run down, make your way to the bottom left, bottom right I mean, sorry. Make your way to the bottom right of this map. Clear anything and everything that's in your way. Just don't go out of your way to clear mobs. That will waste time. So we're trying to go for speed here. The need for speed. Once you make it to this plaza again, you want to do a few things. A is we want to go get the waypoint. Make our life easier in the future. First thing we want to do is go to the control blocks and kill Valenta. Make sure that you also go to the ossuary, which is right next to the waypoint, just to get one of your last, or rather, the last ascendancy trail that you need. As I've said multiple times before, I'm not gonna do it strictly because I've gotten mine already. Next is the Torch Courts. Make your way through the Torch Courts and the Desecrated Chambers. Just bum rush all the way. Again, there's nothing important going on in these rooms except what's at the end, which is the boss. Once you make it to the end, go into the Sanctum of Innocence and fight Avarius the Reassembled. This is a relatively easy fight, so just do your thing. Dodge his attacks. He only has 1 phase. He doesn't have 2 phases like Innocence. Yeah, just kill him real quick. And he'll drop the Staff of Purity. Grab that, go back to town, give this to Bannon. Innocence will be birthed, and congratulations, now you're ready to take on Kitava. Once you've teleported back into the main plaza next to the ossuary, talk to Innocence right next to this bone thing just to the right of the waypoint, and you're now entered the final phase of the campaign. You're gonna go through the canal, you're gonna speed run through this map and the next one up until you get to Kitava. Repeat the same process for the feeding trough, which basically means just steamroll your way through to the end. And once you're at the end, go up the Altar of Hunger and face off Kitava one last time. And there you go. Just like that, Kitava is dead. Now you talk to Sin, he opens up a teleport in the Uriah docks. Go back, you talk to everybody. You get the rewards that you may have not gotten. And once all of that is done, you talk to Lilith. You click set sail to Uriah, or from Uriah. And that's it. You've now made it to the end game. You're now in mapping. Just go all the way to the end here. And for the first time when you got here, obviously I can show you this because I've already done it on my main character this league, but you essentially come all the way in here and you talk to Kirak, who sits next to this table. So that was in total /played 11 hours, 7 minutes, and 24 seconds. Take out about 2.5 to 3 hours because I went shopping, dinner, loitered around, watched YouTube whilst I had the game open. I basically started this run at 10. It's currently 9 p.m. And yeah, basically it took me around, I would say, safely 9 hours. Obviously, it's not like the fastest record speed, but if you're just playing to chill and you just want to do like the run efficiently and you want to skip all the unneeded necessary parts, that's the whole reason I made this video. Hopefully, people who are beginners and didn't know what to do can just watch this in the background, and hopefully I'll help them through it, because I know that some guides, or at least text guides, aren't as easy to follow. At least for me, I know I like having someone in the background while I play my game explaining it to me, and I'll just follow it through. With that said, if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Hope it helped you out, and I'll see you all next week. If there is anything I missed, or if you want to add anything to this guide, just leave it down in the comments. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.